I was recently made aware of a 2003 sermon of John Piper's where he makes the following assertion about God's sovereignty.
The God that Paul has been portraying in Romans 9 is absolutely sovereign. He decides who will believe and undeservingly be saved and who will rebel and deservingly perish. The God that Paul has been portraying in Romans 9 is absolutely sovereign. He decides who will believe and undeservingly be saved and who will rebel and deservingly perish.
I would like to thank Dr. Piper for being so clear in what he believes. I'm especially thankful that he, being a Calvinist, did not shrink back from what even some Calvinists might consider to be the more distasteful implications of Calvinism. Consistent with his Calvinism, Piper unmistakably says that it's God who decides who will ultimately be saved and who will ultimately end up perishing in hell. You don't decide. You have no choice in the matter. God determines your ultimate destiny. He determines whether you will go to hell when you die or whether you will end up with him in his kingdom. That's Calvinism. And I'm thankful that he said it so clearly because, like I said, oftentimes many Calvinists even shrink back from some of the more distasteful implications of their worldview. Notice that Piper also said that those who ultimately perish deservingly perish. Would that not imply that such individuals are accountable for their wrongdoing and actions? Would it not imply that they could have done otherwise and not rebelled against God and not ended up perishing in hell? You would think so, given that they, according to Piper, deservingly perish, but not according to consistent Calvinism, because in consistent Calvinism, God not only decides who will perish, he also decides or determines, as Piper said, their rebellion that leads to them perishing. God decides that they will rebel, and then he decides to punish them eternally for the rebellion that he determined they would do. Now, let me say that just one more time because it's very important you catch this. God decides that they will rebel, and then he decides to punish them eternally for the rebellion that he determined they would do. Now, friends, that is not fringe Calvinism. That's Calvinism 101. And Piper has done us a great service in illustrating just what it is that Calvinists actually believe. Now, there's no question in my mind that many Calvinists are great men and women of God. But I feel oftentimes that they are so steeped in, well, incoherent Calvinistic thought that it really prevents them from interpreting clear scriptural passages that would render their particular worldview impossible. Especially passages that indicate that God has given man a measure of free will, that when the message of the truth of the gospel is presented, the man has a choice to either believe, to submit to that message and be saved, or to rebel and remain lost. Listen to the words of 2nd century Christian leader Irenaeus, who was a disciple of Polycarp, who was a disciple of the Apostle John, and notice the stark contrast between his words and the words earlier from John Piper. This expression, "How often would I have gathered thy children together, and thou wouldest not," set forth the ancient law of human liberty because God made man a free agent from the beginning, possessing his own soul to obey the behests of God voluntarily, and not by compulsion of God, for there is no coercion with God, but a good will toward us is present with him continually, and therefore does he give good counsel to all, and in man as well as in angels he has placed the power of choice, for angels are rational beings, so that those who had yielded obedience might justly possess what is good, given indeed by God, but preserved by themselves. The words of Irenaeus, early church apologist.